Like, yeah,
Yeah.
just the peak of masculinity.
I know, really good old boys.
I ate
Good
it
old
up, dude. I
boys.
loved it. I was like so down with that. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
these guys are oiled up in their
Yeah,
underwear fighting.
this is who I'm supposed to be.
Hey, how's it going? Recently, I spoke with GCMAYN, a independent artist coming up in the sort of like indie rock pop scene, and we had an interview which we talked about a couple different things going on over influences, what he would define his sound as, and what drives and pushes him to make music. And in order to provide a common ground between us, something that we could both initially bond over to sort of break the ice, I told GC to pick a video game, any video game that he wanted to play, and we would play it together during the interview. He chose Apex Legends, a game that over the past 2 or 3 years I have accumulated 1 hour of playtime in and have never won a game. I think I've in total played like 4 games. So, I hopped onto Apex. I had to reset the password on my account because I had no idea what it was, and I went through the training. I played the training in Apex, and I honed my sharpshooting skills. I understood the basics of the game, and once that I thought I was ready to enter the arena, I gave GC a call, and we hopped into an interview, which was very fun and productive, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I wasn't super familiar with his work until maybe a week ago, and it was very insightful. Great guy. I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. I do want to start off with saying, why Apex?
Why Apex?
Why Apex?
Apex is like my favorite video game right now, and it is a better alternative to Fortnite.
It's better than Fortnite. Why is it better than Fortnite?
So like, I used to be a huge fan of Fortnite, and I was really good at it, and it's all I would do.
Oh,
And
so you're an ex-Fortnite fan.
I mean, okay, like it'll always have like a special place in my heart, but definitely it's changed so much, and they just added a lot of unnecessary things to it, and so
you're not a fan of the sort of controlled chaos going on over at Fortnite right now.
yeah, I think I don't know, I just miss the old map, and I miss all the old locations, I miss the old guns. Also, they made like a no build mode, like a zero build mode.
I saw that, and I thought to myself, wasn't that like the sort of like entire main appeal of the game, right?
Yes, and like that was like my strong suit. Like I could build like crazy good, and people.
Oh, I hated people like you, dude. I couldn't build at all. This guy, people like you would build circles around me, and I would get killed immediately. But enough about Apex. I'm glad you picked a game that I have no idea how to play. I'm sure it'll go over great. Talking about the actual music aspect of your life, I guess generally getting into it, what kind of made you sort of like pursue this, fairly lucrative and kind of like demanding hobby into like something else?
Honestly, it was music's been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. Mainly at first just listening, like as a fan. So like, I guess some of the earliest memories of music would be like listening to like the Beatles, like greatest hits or something like that.
Okay,
Like,
so like the classic rock stuff.
yes. Like my grandparents had like a bunch of old like records and like CDs of like Johnny Cash and like Elvis and like all that stuff. Yes, Johnny Cash is amazing.
Do you think that those early on like influences and enjoyments, do you think that they, no matter how little, kind of like worked themselves into like an influence on the music you make now, or was it purely enjoyment at the time?
It was like self-expression and honesty that I noticed from these artists, like the way that they can completely just encapsulate how they feel in like a whole 1 month period into like a 3-minute song.
Yeah, so like that
So
that
like
ability to like kind of boil it down to like the most intense and like most parts that are like representative of you during that time
yeah,
period.
yeah, and like granted, like I was super young like when I first discovered all this, and so I mean I've always had like a very wild and powerful like imagination, but like especially in the beginning stages of my life, like I was really just like I've always been a fan of like video games and movies, TV shows, like anything pop culture. And like one of my favorite movies was like Spirited Away. And like when I was like 5 or 6, I first watched that and I was just like blown away. Also, I kind of like related to it a lot
Hmm.
because of my attachment to my family. You know, whenever my dad would like go to work or something, or like, I was like left alone in some sort of way, like I just kind of dealt with a lot of like attachment issues. So like I felt like her a lot of the time in
Okay,
my
so it was like
childhood.
a kind
So
of like a relatable experience for you. Real quick, I
yeah,
finished the training. I'm done with it. What
hell
is what
yeah.
is your name on here so I can add you and we can actually play? Okay, so I think starting off in sort of like getting into like the music scene and all of
Yeah.
that, I feel like when everybody starts out, they kind of like tend to wear their inspirations on their sleeve. It's a very apparent like inspiration they've gotten. You know, they start in music and they start mimicking the sound of their favorite artist. So when you first started out, like who would you say were like your biggest musical influences? You know, no matter how big or underground, who are those
Um,
influences that you really attach to when kind of crafting your own sound?
Definitely I would have to say Lil Peep for sure. I like I mean at an early age, like aside from him, like I said, it was really like the Beatles that taught me a lot about melody and just amazing songwriting. And I would observe Johnny Cash, like I said, like Elvis, Jimi Hendrix, uh, Nirvana, like all these classic artists. But like really, when I was in high school, I'm a senior. The SoundCloud scene is popping off. I'm 22 now,
Mm-hmm.
but really, 2016, 2017, like SoundCloud era, I was listening to a lot of X and like Peep and Smoke Perp and like all these guys. And this is really where I was like, wow, like these people are sticking up for the kids who like don't really have a voice, or they don't feel like confident in like saying how they feel. And so that was like something that resonated with me and like sparked something. Like I wanted to be like that, and I wanted to be a voice for people who didn't have the strength to like stand up for themselves.
Yeah,
And
like
so
those artists that were
yeah,
like representations like of the beaten down essentially.
yes,
I do
yes,
know. I know that when a lot of people kind of reference that time where they first got into the sort of like more underground community of things, especially on SoundCloud, they most people reference that like 2016 to 2018 era, with like artists like Peep and X and all of that stuff.
yep,
So it's interesting to hear it again from you, especially when I listen to your music and I kind of like get a super kind of like almost I would say almost a distorted indie pop almost. It's kind of
yeah,
like a mix of like those like more alternative rock blends.
hmm,
But then you have a bit of like poppiness in there, a bit of crunch in that
yeah,
sound.
yeah. It's crazy. It is. Um, I mean, touching on the influence thing real quick. Definitely like a kind of a fun fact or something like that. I studied a lot of like there was a lot of time like I just would spend watching like Peeps like live shows like every night, or just like listening to his music, and I would really like I just picked up on how transparent and like open he was, and very like musically, like I'm convinced he was really like a musical genius in a lot
Hmm.
of like in a lot of the sense of the word, like his melodies and songwriting, like yet he was kind of like an enigma. Like people judged him based on like appearance, and they just thought he was like a SoundCloud like rapper, and like they just kind of, people like demonized him and like didn't even really like
Oh yeah,
care to
for sure.
actually dig deeper, which resonated with me a lot. And like, I guess, I don't know, like, I just felt like a lot of times, like, I'm kind of judged before like people know me. And so
Hmm.
I don't know. I just really, he's like an all time favorite, like, person and like musician, really like means a lot to me. Um, but yeah, like, as far as my sound, um, I, my like mom, my stepmom, she like raised me on like Gwen Stefani and like
Oh, really, really.
very like poppy stuff like and then like my dad like raised me on like classic rock and then also kind of like 90s like grunge like Smashing Pumpkins and
So you had
Nirvana.
a pretty wide spectrum of
Oh
music to kind of get accustomed to.
dude, dude, I always am like I'm like yeah, I started off with the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, Johnny Cash, and then it's like almost like my whole childhood, like as I got older, it was really like moving through the timeline of music. And as much as I still love like the older stuff, like honestly, 2022 has been like a great year for music. And like
Honestly, yeah, I agree for sure.
I've been like listening to a lot of modern acts and someone I've been listening to a lot the past couple years, honestly, like few years has been Role Model. I don't know if you're familiar, but he's a very great artist and like someone definitely worth checking out. Also, me and him kind of get like compared a lot as far
Hmm.
as like people tell me I have like a similar like sound or like kind of musical like style, I
Hmm.
guess. And that's definitely like a compliment just because he's very like in tune with himself and everything he makes is very original and he's just super fucking cool. Like he just seems like a great like person and a cool, really cool artist.
Hell yeah.
But
Speaking,
definitely check him out. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Speaking of artists that like you listen to or like you think kind of have like a similar vibe to what you have, are there any artists recently like once again, I mean honestly, no matter how big or small, any artists that you think you would love to work with,
Oh
dream collab, realistic collab, however you want to view the
God.
question, just people you want to work with.
I think about this all the time and like
Me too.
honestly honestly I'm really big on um visualizing what I'm very like I said like a very powerful. Oh God, we have to go. By the way, the storm is
Oh
not to like
shit.
cut you off, but
No,
we're
you're
gonna
good. I mean,
die
I
in the
was
storm.
literally just running in circles. I have no idea what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
no, yeah, I was kind of doing the same thing, just like looting mindlessly. Real quick, we'll take this zip line here.
Let's explore this way.
Okay,
Oh God, you
I
could
guess
do
just
that.
follow. Yeah, just follow me, and
I'll follow
then
you. I'll follow you.
okay,
You're the
yeah,
master here. You've been playing
yeah,
at least a month longer than I have.
yeah, yeah. Um. Oh yeah. Okay. So dream collab. Um. I think about this a lot. I think about like who I want to like. There's this interviewer named Zane Lowe. He's a he's like a radio host for Apple.
The name
Their
is.
radios.
Oh yeah, he curates the playlists
Yes,
and
he's
stuff.
yeah, yeah. I believe he's Australian. I don't want to get that. Also, there's enemies like right up to our left, but we're gonna ignore them, and we're just gonna run in here.
All right,
Okay,
cool.
sorry.
Sounds good.
I wanna extend our survival time.
No, I want to win.
Um,
We're gonna win this first match we play.
yeah. So yeah, Zane Lowe, he is like the I don't know. He's just amazing and like he's super cool. Like someone I look up to like tremendously. Like he's a great musical just figure. And he has like a radio show on it's like the radio show on Apple Music.
Okay, so
Basically.
he's like the real deal when it comes to music curation, like
Exactly.
hosting, kind of
Yes.
just talking about the sort of like the sphere of influence going on in music at the moment.
Exactly. And I basically like, I try and manifest things and like I kind of like to think about like if I actually got an interview with him one day, like what I would say. And like I even like I recently got on like Fresh Finds, which is like an amazing playlist to get on for Spotify.
Congrats.
Thank you,
All
thank you.
right.
And I was really feeling like, dang, like because they update it every Wednesday, and I don't know. I just every time I release something, I'm always so like nervous, and I'm just like, like what if
Yeah,
it
there's
just goes
always that
completely
like
wrong? Or, like,
that kind of like
yeah,
burst of anxiety. Even though like you love the song and you've loved making it, like the second like it's time to put it out, you're like, oh shit, yeah,
yeah,
I don't know if I
because
want to do this anymore.
yeah, and I'm a crazy like I'm so up and down, back and forth when it comes to like releasing music. Like I'll love it one day and like hate it the next day, and like that's just how I am. But
Mhm.
like overall, I tend to love everything I make
That's
one
good.
at one point or another.
Yeah,
But
like at some point you like it, even if it's not now,
yeah,
like you will or you have.
yeah. And so I basically the night before, like it was Tuesday, I like prayed. I was like, I sometimes I'll pray. Like I'm not even super religious. I'm like very like spiritual, but I was just praying to whatever power out there, and I was like,
Hmm.
please help me get on Fresh Finds. And then like literally, I was like, amen. And then I go to bed, and then I wake up the next morning and I check it first thing in the morning because a lot of people they're like playlists aren't everything. Like it's not that big of a deal. I'm like, first of all, like you can't say that because also like just because it doesn't mean anything to you, like I put my heart
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
I put my blood, sweat, and tears into my music, and like, yeah, I want it to be received in a positive manner, and it's very important to me that like it does well, and that is my like that's my like that's what I see as doing well. So it's like
Yeah,
I'm hyped
if
on it,
this
and
is
so
if this is
yeah,
something that you have deemed like worthy of putting spiritual energy into, like,
yeah,
I mean, no one can tell you
yeah,
you're wrong about that. Like, fuck
yeah,
that.
yeah. And so I was like, first thing I did, like, I jumped up, got on my computer, checked my Spotify for artists, and I was like, I literally like didn't see it at first. I was like, oh my god, like I didn't get on it. Like I'm like, oh, better luck next time. And then
Yeah,
my friend, who's like an artist manager, he's not my manager. I don't really have a manager. Like,
can't be
I
managed.
have like, yeah, I know, I have like a like distribution like company or like an independent label that helps me release music. But yeah, he's just a friend and a very good person that looks out for me and
Hmm.
always gives me like the best advice. Very blunt, but like
That's
very
necessary
good
sometimes.
advice. He's an amazing person. But he's like, here, check out my playlist, and he was like kind of trolling. And I was like, I don't want to hear a playlist right now. Like that's the last thing I want to
Yeah,
hear.
don't say that word in
Yeah,
front of me.
yeah. I'm like, dude, I'm honestly don't even talk about music.
Yeah, don't even
No,
bring it
but
up.
he sent me Fresh Finds Pop, and I was like, what? Like I scroll down, there I am, like GCMAYN, Arizona, and I started freaking out, and I was like, I literally almost like cried just because. Oh God, there's enemies. Oh my God, I died. I
Are
did
you?
not know
Did
they
you
were right
like
there.
die?
Well, I'm knocked, so
Oh
if you can,
God.
you got this. You got
Why would
this.
you, why would you leave me alone with this man? He's crazy.
I know, I know. You got this. You got
Oh
this. Ah,
no.
it's all right.
You know
Good
what?
warm up.
We
That we
tried.
did
Yeah,
pretty good.
good warm up. Yeah,
Seventh,
no.
seventh.
You
We
know
placed
what?
seventh.
We placed seventh.
Yeah.
You
And
know
then
what?
now
That
we
was
just back out.
genuinely longer than I thought I would
Yeah.
last. I had full
Yeah.
faith in you, but I thought like the second
Yeah.
my feet touched the ground, my boots were
Well,
planted, I was gone.
it's hard to like focus on like this and then gaming, and it's like, but it's super fun just to like, but yeah,
There's a bit
we
of
can
risk
do it. We got
involved. You
this.
can't put your attention too far either way.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get you in a nice middle. That was my plan
I
all
know,
along.
right? I know.
But speaking of the playlist for your new song,
Yes.
Arizona, it's super fun. Like I said, a little crunchy, it's pretty energetic. What was the
Crunchy.
process behind the track?
Well, it was like absolutely insane, and it basically I have to rewind a little bit. Backtrack
Go for it. Set out the
per
timeline for
se.
me. Lay
All
everything
right.
out.
Okay. I need a gulp of water real quick. Stay hydrated, kids. Um, okay. So it is August 2021, and I am like in this friendship. It ends. I'm like, holy shit, like this is a lot for me right
Some
now. I
emotional
can't,
turmoil going
yeah,
on.
I'm like shit. So I basically was just like, it was a decision I made, and it was for my own good. And it was just something I needed to do. I needed some alone time, and basically I was just like dealing with some like health problems, like physically, and like also like my mental health was like awful. I was drinking a lot, and just kind of not being kind to myself, my mind and my body, my spirit. So like I got into like mindfulness, and like started exercising, eating well, got into like herbal medicine, like having like alkaline foods, like just stuff that's gonna nourish my body and my mind.
Yeah, kind of like taking all of those steps necessary in order to like
Exactly.
get yourself
Yeah.
out of whatever pit you were in to better yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to be a successful musician, and I want to be, someone that people can look up to. And I'm just like, I'm not that. I'm not my higher self per se would be like disappointed in me. And, as much as I was struggling, it's like, yeah, like you can continue to struggle, or you can try and give yourself the best chance possible to get out of this hole. And so I basically spent 9 months, like quite literally, like almost a year. I didn't make one song, and I literally was just working on my mind and my body. I was isolated. I was kind of going crazy at one point, but like in the best way possible. I kicked like alcohol. I've been like sober for like several months now.
Hell yeah.
And which is insane.
It's tough.
Definitely. And I have a really good friend who helps me out with like, reassuring me and giving me good advice. And he just said to me one night, it really hit me. He just like, dude, I've never seen you so bright. Like even his parents, like I went over to see him, and his parents I've known since I was in 6th grade. They're like, wow, like Gavin, like my name's Gavin. They're like, Gavin is glowing right now. Like I've never
really
seen
like
him.
see that progress that you had been working.
Yeah,
towards.
and I just like at a certain point I didn't want to like even look myself in the mirror. During like the lowest point of my kind of struggle, I even like shaved my head. Had my
okay.
Britney Spears
The
had my Britney
classic
Spears
sort
moment.
of like mental break moment. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I respect it, honestly.
Yeah. Real quick, there's like guys over here. I kind of don't want to like fight them, so
Hey, I'm
maybe
perfectly
we should.
okay with avoiding combat.
Honestly,
Like,
yeah.
I'm totally.
Let's just run up here.
All right, perfect.
No, like I was saying, like I didn't want to look at myself in the mirror. I was like ashamed of who I was, and I was just wanting change, and I completely I was like reborn in a lot of senses, and like I put so much effort into myself, like love and effort, and it really took a lot of like you can't change unless you're honest with yourself. And like I was completely honest with myself. Like I dropped my ego. I was like, wow, like you're really like a mess. Like you need to change, or else you're going to, I mean, who knows? Let's just say like
are
who
only gonna
knows?
get worse.
Yeah, like potentially, like if I kept going with some certain things I was doing, like I potentially like might not be having this conversation with you
Yeah,
like
exactly.
today. So it was a very real time in my life, and I'm so proud of like how far I've come, and like it's only gonna like get better, and I'm super excited as far as like music, which okay, that was my segue into
Okay, okay.
Arizona. Pretty
We've made
seamless
it full circle.
transition.
We're back here.
Yeah. So I hadn't made a song or any music in 9 months, and one night, like I I remember this completely. It was Saturday night. I was alone. I was feeling like I had, like when you need to create something and you can feel it, all the energy like flowing through your body, and you feel like you're gonna explode, and you need
Yeah,
to get
it's
that
like, well,
out.
like earlier you said that at a certain moment you felt like crazy, but like a good way, like a good
Yes.
crazy. That's kind of like the
Yeah.
process of like really getting like an idea, and just like sitting down and like making a song in like one sitting. Like just like
No.
getting
Yeah.
that kind of crazy feeling that you feel like you're going crazy because of what you're making almost.
Yes. Exactly. And I was like, that was my moment. And after 9 months, I finally sat down and made a song, and it turned out to be Arizona, which is, in my opinion, a lot of people that I'm close with, they've told me like the same thing. Like, this is your best work yet since um, I have this song called Earth Angel. It's like my top song on Spotify, and like a lot of people who listen to music, that's their favorite. I've grown to like not like it that much, but
So
that's just because I,
maybe the one with the most like mainstream appeal, but definitely not
yeah,
your favorite in terms of quality.
not at all. And like honestly, I think this has both. I think it has like more mainstream appeal, as better production. It's a better vocal performance on my part. Like the songwriting, I think is absolutely like my best work yet, and it's so brutally honest, and I'm just not afraid to say how I feel, and I've never been afraid to say how I feel. um Honestly, like maybe when I was first starting,
Yeah.
but that's just because I don't know, it's just
Well, it's
honestly,
nerve
yeah.
wracking. It's hard to put yourself out there, especially in the beginning when you first start making music. It's you kind of come to the realization like once the high of doing it is worn off, and you're like, oh, like this is a pretty vulnerable aspect of me that I'm sharing with the world, and like
Completely.
anybody can hear it, no matter who.
Yeah.
A
No,
lot of the times,
exactly. Yeah.
I'll make a track that'll be a pretty like deep and heartfelt reflection of how I feel at the time that I made it,
Yeah.
and I'll kind of think to myself like, would I be okay with like anybody hearing this, you know?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes you think about what you're actually saying on the track.
I know. Yeah. And it's like when you get in that that thought loop of like while you're making something, like in a perfect world, like you shouldn't even like be worried about anyone else. Oh my god, we're getting shot at. We'll have to resume this in a second. Where are we getting shot from?
I'll kill him. Don't
Okay,
worry.
they're down there. All right.
I got
There
some
he is.
heavy rounds.
Oh, cracked him.
I shot him
Knocked
once.
one. Knocked one. Knocked one. Knocked one.
I'm just shooting the guy while he's down. Am I a bad person
Phasing.
for this? Holy shit! Everything's on fire.
Let's go. I got him. Let's go.
All right, cool. Is there still? We got both
Okay.
of them?
Yeah, that's it.
Dude, we're
That's
so
it.
good. Dude, that was.
We're so good.
We're
We're
so
going
good.
pro.
That was
We're going
both
pro.
of us that did that. That was
Exactly.
That was
Exactly.
thanks to
Team
both
effort.
of us. I
Here,
shot.
loot this. Yeah, loot that.
Loot that.
You can take like ammo. You can take guns. Like there's basically the colorful stuff is the best. That's just all you have to remember. So
Spitfire looks
um,
cool. I'll take that.
yes. Where were we? I forget exactly. Oh, like putting yourself on the line. As far as
for
like
sure.
being. Yeah. Honestly, it just comes with like practice. A lot of it is self belief. But it takes a lot of courage to put yourself on the line like that for the entire world to hear and observe you, and which is why being an artist is a very difficult yet admirable profession, or even just identity. Like I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
being an artist doesn't have to just be like some black and white thing. Like you're you're this per se. Like it's just a lot of it has to do with like who you are as a
like who
person, like
you are, like at your core.
your soul.
Like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
more than just like a hobby, or it's more than just like a
Oh yeah,
job.
completely.
Do you so in terms of like that, that ability that you kind of like grow over time, that ability to be able to be comfortable with putting yourself out there, do you think that like that was like a struggle for you at first? Like it kind of took you time to be able to like really put yourself out there, or from the beginning were you just were you pretty okay with it?
Um, Honestly, I've always been a very open and transparent person. A lot of people that I'm close with, like even family members, like can like they've told me that if I probably like didn't want to be a musician, I could probably be like a really good therapist just
Hmm.
because people I'm very transparent and like open with like a lot of people, which does have a it's like a double-edged sword. Like people respect it, but also like and people can like seek comfort within your openness, but
Hmm.
like people can also take advantage of you and like there's been a lot of times where like in like relationships like I've been involved in like very like abusive relationships like emotionally and like even physically, which is it's a very difficult subject,
Oh, for sure,
but
yeah.
like I'm always willing to like talk about it with those who are willing to listen and those who understand, but it's really never been an issue for me like as far as songwriting goes, like putting anything I want, anything I'm feeling out there, and my very first so like I even started making music just because one, like I've always wanted to,
It is a
I've
lot of
always
fun,
actually
I'll admit.
oh yeah, yeah, like it's like my life. And um I I remember like I remember just like always wanting to be a musician, and I remember watching like Drake and Josh when I was
Hell yeah.
little, and like I would always think like my opinion has changed now, like but I always used to think like Drake was like the coolest person ever.
It really is a
uh,
shame, isn't
but
it?
now he's like just the opposite, and Josh is the coolest one. But like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, I
Josh
was like
Peck kind of became like an
oh
influencer,
yeah, oh
and then
yeah, for
Drake Bell
sure.
got
Yeah, he like
like
had a body
charges.
transformation. He like lost like all his weight, and now he's like super fit, and like he's just doing big things. And like Drake like got arrested, moved to
Well,
Mexico, like
we can enjoy the idea of Drake Bell.
yes, the
You know, we don't
idea.
we don't
Yeah.
have to we don't have to necessarily attach ourselves to who he is now. But at the time on
Yes,
Drake and Josh,
at
he
the
was
time.
so cool.
He was so cool. He got all the girls. He was an amazing musician. I mean, that theme song like is amazing.
It was great. I
No
mean,
one can
yeah, that
deny.
was him. That was his.
I
That
just
was
yeah, I just wanted to like be like that. And I remember like I would play like the James Bond video games, and like
like
I was
Goldeneye.
very much yeah, like that. Like there was a few other ones. There was called like for the original Xbox, it was called Agent Under Fire. There was another one called like uh God, I forget. Everything or Nothing,
Hmm.
which had like I don't know. These are just really good James Bond games. But I was like always like wanted to be like as cool as like James Bond, or just like I don't know. It was just I would always like say like just his like catchphrases, and like
Nice.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
mean,
I just
as kids, like you latch on to those. Oh, my
these
bad.
characters. I'm just like wait,
Yeah,
this door's locked.
when I was a kid, this is so embarrassing actually. But when I was a
Go for
kid,
it.
I was big into superheroes. Um,
Yes,
and I especially liked Shazam. I loved Shazam. I thought it
Shazam.
was yeah, yeah. I thought he
I
was
think I'm
super
not
cool.
familiar.
It's okay. So I think his name's Billy something, Billy Bass. I don't know. I can't remember. But it was a kid. But he was kind of, power was bestowed upon him by like a wizard or some shit.
Uh huh.
And so when he called upon the power of Shazam, when he said the name Shazam, he would be imbued with the power that the wizard had given him. He would like turn into an adult. He could control lightning. It was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
So As a kid, I loved Shazam. Shazam was like my favorite next to like
That's dope.
Batman, of course. And so what I
Yeah.
would do was is I would just, what does Shazam do to turn into Shazam? He yells Shazam.
No way.
So I would just
You just scream
scream it.
Shazam.
I'd be like,
Oh
I
my
would just
god.
yell it, and then like in my little kid head, I was like, oh shit, maybe one day it'll work.
This is
You know
gonna
what I
work.
mean?
This is
Like,
gonna
yeah,
work.
maybe one day.
No,
it'll
yeah.
work. And then I'd be like praying. I'm like, please. No, I'm like, please, just
Yeah.
let me be a superhero.
Yeah. That's amazing. And as a kid, you're like, yeah, like you said, you latch onto these like characters and they mean so much to you, and they're really just superheroes. Like, I mean, like, yeah, like one time I was really into Santa and like the Tooth Fairy.
You were a Santa
I was,
fan.
oh yeah, I was a big Santa stan. Like honestly,
You're-
but like one,
I mean, I
I
don't
was
hate the
obsessed.
guy, I guess.
No, yeah, I was. This is like a really true story, and like I very much was into Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Hell
and
yeah.
for one, oh god, wait, we'll hold that thought. There's an enemy here.
Oh, dude, we're gonna fuck him up. Don't worry. All right, I was
Okay,
just
yeah,
executed
Avatar.
from behind with a pistol.
Last Airbender. I cannot make this up. One year I asked Santa for I wanted to be an airbender. I wanted to be an airbender, and I literally like in my 6-year-old mind, I like thought it was possible to receive supernatural powers for Christmas.
Was that the year?
I was like,
Was that the year that like everything came crashing down in terms
yeah,
of Santa
and then
his
yeah, it was
believability?
all down. It was all downhill
No.
from there. Like on Christmas morning, I woke up and I was like, I tried like
that's
airbending,
fucked.
and
That's so sad.
my dad was like, I don't know if he was concerned for my like mental development or something, but like he was definitely like, yeah, that's not possible, and we got you a Batman like playset, like action figure like playset, and I was like, that's cool too, because I thought Bruce Wayne was so cool too.
Oh,
Like all these
he
like
was
male
cool as-
figures that are just like,
Lots of big, manly,
Fuck.
fucking jacked,
wait,
just
wait.
ripped
just
guys.
jacked guys,
you
jacked
know?
guys.
Like
Yeah.
I liked WWE as a kid, which is
Bro, the
just
Undertaker, bro.
like the peak of match. Dude, Undertaker through mankind through Hell in a Cell. Like
Yeah.
just the peak of masculinity.
I know, really good old boys.
I ate
good
it
old
up,
boys.
dude. I loved it. I was like so down with that. I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
these guys are oiled up in their
Yeah.
underwear fighting.
This is who I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, no,
Oh my God,
this
he's
will
right
be
there.
the blueprint for my development for the next 10 years.
Yes. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Are you still alive?
Yeah, I'm alive.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have left the game. I could have spectated you.
Wait, you left?
I didn't. I was like, killed, and I forgot there was respawn points.
Oh,
So
yes.
I just dipped. I thought you were dead too. That's on me.
Not yet, but I'm definitely working
while
on
I am
it.
at full leisure, I don't have to worry about anything, and you're in the
Yes.
midst of the action. This is when I'm gonna really start grilling you, with the heavy hitting shit. I don't have any heavy hitting shit. Like I kind of just hoped this would be fairly candid, which I was pleasantly surprised that it was.
It's very much.
I've been coming up with shit on the spot. All right, so in the midst of the action, I'm gonna just
Yeah.
fire off random yes or no questions. You can elaborate if
Yes.
you want.
Yes.
Do you want to perform live?
Oh yes. I'm
Have
trying to
you
go on
Have you
tours.
performed live?
Never, and I get scared before I go to bed every night, and I think about it.
Stage fright in bed.
It's something that terrifies me. I'm like, yo, what if I actually just don't know how to like sing, and what if I forget how to speak?
What if I actually have no idea how to do
Yeah.
anything?
Yeah. So yeah, that's stuff. Oh my god, I'm gonna die.
How long
Okay, I
have you been
died.
making music? No. What are you working on? Is there anything that me and whoever may be listening to you can look forward to seeing from you in the near future?
I mean, I just released Arizona, so
Go
that's
stream
kind of yes. Go stream that. It's been like I think 9 days. I think pretty sure, but I'm working on like promotional stuff. Maybe a music video for that. I've never done a music video before, but I definitely want to get into like I do have like aspirations as far as like getting into like film and stuff like that eventually, like down the
Hmm.
line. Um, very into visual visual arts and all that, like fashion and stuff. But yeah, like there's always something to look forward to. Currently, I can't really speak on a lot of what's happening, but there's some very exciting stuff in the
Oh,
works.
some secret
Very,
stuff.
yeah, secret stuff. But yeah, like as far as music, like possibly a little EP,
Hell
something like
yeah, hell yeah.
that. I've never made a project before, but I think
So
it
this could be a
is,
first. This could be like a big stepping stone almost to be able to
yeah,
get like an EP
definitely,
out.
definitely. And like I'm always like just kind of like for a while I was kind of I didn't have the energy to put myself out there, and I just wasn't feeling like myself. But with the recent kind of past year of like self development, I really got. I was like at a certain point, I was like actually considering quitting music, and I was like, feeling very like weak, and I was just like,
I think
at a
everyone
certain
has
point,
that moment, you know?
oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
and like
everyone kind of like hits this wall or where they've been going at it for so long, and then they're kind of like at their first like major almost checkpoint in their progress, whether it be in the quality of their sound,
yeah,
in sort of like how they're finding themselves through their sound. Like there's
yeah,
always that wall, and I've seen a lot of artists. I've seen a lot of artists question that, like, should I quit? Because there doesn't seem to be any apparent progress.
yeah.
I'm glad you
And
haven't quit. It's very
thank you,
good. It's very
thank
good.
you, thank you,
I'm a new fan. You know,
thank you.
you've earned a monthly listener
Hell
on
yeah,
Spotify.
let's go. I
Thank you
mean,
so much for talking to me, dude. For
yeah,
real.
you've been a great. It's been a great interview.
That's good to
Um,
hear.
you're very good at this.
Thank you. I
You've been doing
actually
this for years.
I went to school for journalism for
It shows. It
two
shows.
years, and then
It
2 years
it
in, I
shows.
was like, "Fuck that, never mind."
Yeah, I'm a
And now
be
I
a
go to school for
musician.
media production. So
Let's go. Like, I mean, honestly, like you're very professional and fun at the same time, which is an amazing
hell
blend.
yeah, awesome.
And yeah, like I would love to do this another time
For
soon.
sure, yeah. You know what? In terms of like the channel, you know, I've done a lot of different YouTube channels over the
Yeah,
years. One of them pretty popular, but I got burnt out because I've always loved content creation, but I'm trying
yeah,
to kind of like find something that works for me, and music is what
yeah,
works for me. I love music.
yeah,
I used to have
exactly.
a smaller anime YouTube channel where I would talk about anime.
Okay.
But believe it or not, that you get burnt out on that shit real fast.
It's a lot of pumping out content, and it's like hard to keep up with it,
Yeah.
I imagine, because the anime world is so uh like there's layers. There's like
Yeah, there's like first of all, there's
it's an
like 30 new
iceberg, yeah.
shows every
I know.
season.
Yeah, and like I'm not like too involved. Like I haven't like really took the time to like dig in, but like it's something I'm like definitely like willing to try. And like I a lot of my friends told me to watch Attack on Titan. Do you think that's a good one
It's a
to?
very good starting anime.
Yeah,
It has a
yeah,
lot of mainstream appeal. So there's
yeah,
and it kind of like deviates. It avoids those typical anime tropes that you kind of have to see in a few anime to understand and get,
yeah,
because
yeah,
there's a lot of anime is very self-referential. There's
yeah.
a lot of tropes that cross over
Hmm.
between. I would say that or Death Note. Death Note is like the
Death Note.
easiest anime for anybody to watch.
Okay,
It's
I'll
literally
just
just
start on
it's
that.
a
Yeah.
crime thriller. That's all it is.
Okay. Okay. Sweet.
But yeah, we can go ahead and wrap things up before we get out of here. Is there anything you want to say, plug? I know you can throw that Arizona shout out one more time.
Yeah.
We'll really make
Plugging
sure to
that
hammer
so
that
much.
in,
I know.
and
I like.
tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. So yeah, just stream Arizona. Yeah, because you can't plug yourself enough, I guess. But you know, definitely follow me on Instagram at GCMAYN. Twitter GCMAYN_, because someone decided to take that
Someone
username.
took it
I
from
don't
you.
even know. Yeah, I'm like, who are you? Like, I mean, I don't know, but yeah, I tried to get that back, or not get it back because I never had it, but I tried to claim that and report him because he hasn't been like active since 2015. So
You
I
wanna hear
really
some
want that
bullshit?
Twitter. Yeah, I want that. Anyways,
Mel Mige is taken on Twitter.
oh
Can you
gosh,
believe that
that'd
shit?
be so clean, just so clean, just like
That's like
yeah.
that's my name. Like that's like
I
a
know,
an old
it's a dope
like
name.
family
Dope.
name. Who the
Yeah,
fuck took
yeah,
that from me?
yeah. I know.
Because like
And
if you have
then
like a generic artist name, like yeah, I could get it. But like who the fuck
yeah,
else has that?
I don't know. We have to get to the bottom of this. Spotify, GCMAYN, Apple Music, GCMAYN, SoundCloud, all that. I'm on everything. Um, if you're like a new listener or like you never like heard me before, because I know like you have like I just kind of I've been friends with like Roadside Arcade and Saku on the internet. That's how we met through like the Sky Camp chat. Um, but you know, there's a lot of people who probably won't know like who I am when they see this. But I just want to say like welcome, and I'm so excited to like possibly have like a new listener or just someone who appreciates my music. And my goal has always been to kind of just help people feel like less alone and like provide like a sense of comfort and relatability. And I just love music. That's it.
Hell yeah.
love life, love music.
Well, thank you so much for talking
Of
with me,
course.
man.
Of course. Thank you for taking the time.
Of course,
It
always.
was amazing. And we'll get
Thank you.
we'll get the win next time.
Yeah, no, next time we'll like actually win a
Yeah,
game. I want you to
yeah.
know I installed this game just for you. Like
No,
I
that
did not
warms
have
my
it
heart.
installed. I had to go through the tutorial. It was a whole mess. It was a whole mess.